So when you get on the airplane, the first thing you hear is put your oxygen mask on first, but many of us forget to do that. Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we'll talk to an expert in self-care. That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox. Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team. And the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, are we taking care of ourselves? I think before the pandemic, most of us would say we're trying to take care of ourselves, and then the pandemic threw a wrench into everything. No matter where you are in life, you know, suddenly you became a parent and school teacher in addition to running a company or trying to keep your boss happy. To talk about self-care right now, Justine Mader, she is a life and business coach. Justine, thank you for coming on the show.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you are like walking your talk, because I know you're a mom and you are a very successful life and business coach. What are you seeing on the front line? I mean, are you seeing kind of a pandemic of anxiety and people are just being overwhelmed with the responsibilities of life?
So much so. And Jeff, it's one of those things when you're in the trenches, so many people, feel like they're alone. And the amazing ability that we're able to do this, across the country, you and I'm in Minnesota, you're in Texas. It's one of those things that people get so isolated. And I think that this pandemic really has made people feel like they're alone in this fight. They're alone. Nobody sees the pain that they're going through. And I think that it has really caused people to reevaluate how they're taking care of themselves, if they are taking care of themselves. And being a leader in this kind of space has really caused me to take a look at how can I serve at a higher level, because so many people are going through this, and contrary to their beliefs, they're far from alone.
Well, you are a very successful business and life coach, but you also have a preacher's heart, because I was on your social media and you are just amazing. We're going to roll a clip right now.
Hey, wait one sec. There are plenty of people out there telling you that you can do it, set goals, manifest it, believe it. Okay, that's all great. That's all great. And I'm going to tell you that to a point, but there comes a point where that stuff actually isn't the root reason or the root key to your success. We got to dig deeper, guys. I'm talking depression. I'm talking anxiety. I'm talking hurt and pain. You can't fill a cracked cup. If you're cracked and you've got holes in your cup like my fingers have gaps between them, you can't fill that up. There is not enough water on earth to fill that cup. We have to start there and become whole.
One, you're so inspirational, but you make a very good point, because I think we're burning the candle at both ends and sometimes in the middle. And I know for myself, I need a certain number of hours to sleep. I mean, if I can get 7 hours of sleep, I think I'm okay. But during the pandemic, we have busy mind syndrome. A lot of us are working on problems, and if you're working on your laptop right until you go to bed and you're working on a problem, it can mess up your sleep. Let's talk about how important it is to get enough rest.
Absolutely. Well, it's one of those things, I don't speak as someone that hasn't been through my own dark phase as well. I actually kind of joined the entrepreneurial world and all of that actually as a way for me to get out of my own depression. And I had a huge life transition, going from working full time up to the day that my first son was born, quitting my job and then being like, well, how do I impact others? How do I serve? And I just felt alone and on my own. And so when it came to serving, it kind of relit that candle in me. me. And that's something that I want people to hear is I'm not saying that I haven't had those issues, because I have. And more than likely, every other person in this world has had their stage. So I just wanted to preface this with that point right away. But if we're going to talk about how we're resting, how we're prioritizing things, you have to realize that without honoring your priorities, it's actually not a priority. So people say, oh, I'm very health conscious. What in your action shows that you're actually health conscious? Are you following through with what you say? Accountability is a huge part of my coaching, because it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to be it. So when we talk about rest, diet, health, just even quiet time, it's one of those things that what fills your cup? It might not fill my cup, but what fills your cup, Jeff? Is that, at least 2 or 3 hours a week where you get to sit and read, your favorite books on, development or whatever the case is. Maybe for someone else, that's taking a walk, in beautiful downtown Dallas. Everyone has something that they need to have in their life as a priority to help fill their cup. I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's going to be something that you have to tell me, but it's something that you have to put back into your life.
Well, you and I had a chance to visit right before the show, and you were telling me a great story of a client that you helped. Would you share that story?
Oh, I would love to, and it hopefully will resonate with so many of you right now. She is just an incredible human being. She was, doing amazing in business, trying to be that amazing mom at home, but, now there's teaching. Now there's not just cooking, there's snacks and everything in between, which happened otherwise at school. In other words, everything was put on her plate all at once. And we had to dig deep and reevaluate on what she was doing with her business and what she was doing with her home. And like I was sharing with Jeff as well, a lot of home situations can kind of trickle into your business. And so we talked about that. We talked about her crunch time with her clients. She wasn't feeling like her time was being optimized because she was focusing on things at home. She wasn't feeling like she was serving her clients enough, so she was overworking herself and not delivering the same amount of value. So we had to dig deep on all of those things and create new standards. What is your standard for your clients? What is your turnaround time? What are you charging? If you're giving your 1,000% in every project, you should be charging something that reflects that as well. So it honors your clients by knowing that they are investing in a quality project, quality product, which you're putting out, all of those things. And then the same for your family. What are your priorities in your family? Is that, a good diet for your children? Is that family time and games? Maybe it's hiring out your cleaning. Whatever those key components are for you, that's the story that we had together. And to see her go from broken and distraught to bossing it and so excited to tackle life, it's what fills my cup. Wow. And I'm so grateful that I get to do that.
Well, I can see why you're so good at your job. We're going to put up on the screen, we downloaded your media kit, and you have several things that you talk about, but the one I want to talk about is communication and culture in the virtual age. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it means so much to me. So many people that I get to talk to. I'm a young person. It's pretty obvious here. I'm not going to deny it, but it's one of those things that I'm excited about. How virtual has, kind of hit new heights that we never could have anticipated, but there's a lot of people that aren't. So I love talking on this subject in podcasts and trainings, because communication in the virtual space is drastically different than in the physical space. Not that, you're not good at it, but there's a different strategy. There's a different tactic. I can't walk up to Jeff, shake his hand and be like, thank you so much for having me on the show. And we can feel that connection. We have to create that connection via screens. And I have to be able to demonstrate that, by my facial features, by my voice. It's so much more intricate and yet successful if done right. And so when people are talking about their teams, maybe their team is now no longer in a brick and mortar space and they're on the virtual area. How are you creating team standards so that they know that their questions are being answered, their concerns are being heard? How are you making sure that they feel appreciated during this crazy time for them too? And as the business owner, it's so hard when you're in charge, because sometimes you're like, I don't know who to turn to. I don't know what to do. The thing is that when you start by taking care of yourself and knowing what you appreciate in the business, then you can demonstrate that, be clear, be authentic with your people and be like, hey, these are the standards that will help us move forward. This is how I communicate. Let's move forward together. That's already going to have your team rallying behind you for every next step that you're going towards. And I think that so many people were scared to take the jump online that this whole pandemic really showed people that it's not that bad. It's not that bad. There's going to be bumps. There's going to be potholes. There's going to be hiccups. But if you're willing to be raw and real with your people and be like, hey, maybe we messed up. Maybe we need to do this instead. Thanks for putting up with me. I'm so excited to still be with you as your leader. Let's figure this out and let's try what you guys brought to the table this time. There's so much more potential. And that's where I think, when people think communication, especially from the top of the pyramid, right? Everything falls down. If you're willing to be raw, authentic, and real with people saying, hey, I don't know what to do, but I'm going to figure this out because I care about you guys. So if Zoom isn't working, we're going to use StreamYard. If Slack isn't working, we're going to find a way to communicate with Monday. We're going to find a way to do it. That's the kind of confidence and clarity that needs to be so present in any form of your communications so that your team and your community can thrive like never before.
Well, I can see why you're so popular. I know a lot of marriage counselors who have never been married before, and you wonder, who are you to tell me how to fix my marriage? You're living your journey with your clients. So we only have a little time left. If somebody's watching this and they say, gosh, I like her, she gets me. What is it like to engage you? What's the process look like?
Oh, it's so easy. I'm very easy to get a hold of, just because I like to keep things simple. So many times we overthink and overcomplicate. So reaching out to me is very easy. I'm on all the social media platforms at Justine Mader HQ, and I do have a simple website that's justinemader.com. The biggest thing about reaching out to me is that, whether we work together or not, I want to see you successful. And if I'm not the right person to help you get there, I'm going to help you find that person. Because we all have a piece to life's greatest puzzle. And if you don't use your piece, it's not going to be the same picture. It's not going to be the same masterpiece. And I want to see you put that piece in the puzzle with confidence and embrace whatever your purpose in life is. Because I believe we're all here for a reason, and God knows what your reason is, but I can't wait to see what it is. And if I get to be a part of that journey, that's what makes my day go from like 0 to hero. So I'm super excited.
Awesome. Well, you've been a blessing to me and my audience. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going to end with your website up full. JustineMader.com is the website. Thank you so much for blessing us with your wisdom.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeff. It was an honor.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.